Doctor, where are we? What's with all the pink? This, Ruby, is Barbie Land, and I am more than just a Time Lord. I am a freaking Ken. Will you be my Barbie? Don't tell physicist, Barbie. Doctor Who Series 14, written by returning showrunner and reviver of the show, Russell T Davis. Boy, have you been missed for 14 years, pal. And is the 14th series of the New Who and revived series since 2005. That airs on BBC One in the United Kingdom from May to June 2024, as well as on Disney Plus in other countries. So, Doctor Who Series 14 tells the story taking place after the events of the 60th anniversary and the 2023 Christmas special, The Church of Ruby Road, where Ruby Road is now traveling with the 15th Doctor, and on their adventures, they encounter babies on a abandoned ship, uh, a uh, a musical demon, a war zone, a strange older lady that won't stop following Ruby, uh, a bubble world. The Doctor even gets to fall in love again after River Song and a return of a sinister old foe, the god of death himself from Pyramids of Mars, Zootek, while at the same time try and solve the mystery of who is Ruby's real mother who left her at the church at Christmas. And at the same time, the Doctor attempts to keep his promise to Ruby's adopted mother that he will keep her safe. Now, I was certain that Doctor Who Series 14 would be one of the best Doctor Who seasons since the glory days of the New Who, the Russell T Davis era from 2005 to 2010, with and Russell wowed us. He wowed our socks off with the 60th anniversary specials last year. So he's still very much got this, and Nucci as the Doctor. I was instantly on board with him playing the two-hearted time-traveling Time Lords after seeing him as one of the Kens, one of Ryan Gosling's Ken's buddies in Barbie, and Millie Gibson finally goes from soap opera to sci-fi television. So I was confident that she would make a kick-ass companion. Even though this series is shorter, it's just 8 stories rather than 13. It's at least the first proper series we've had since Jodie Whittaker's final series, Series 13, Flux, in 2021. Because 2022 and 2023, we didn't get a proper series at all. So, judging Series 14 as a whole, now that it's done, while it has its downs and is, and anybody with good taste will see this is not the greatest series of Doctor Who what we've ever gotten, but I still had a smile on my face for the most part. So there are far more good stories in this series than bad. As it's is still a blast, and it is a great pity to see that the viewing figures for Series 14 were at an all-time low, the lowest that they've been in donkey's years. So this series may have failed to revive the show to be event television, and maybe Doctor Who will need a break soon, as people are getting tired of it. So clearly, but it's it's still, I would take this series over most of the Stephen Moffat era and Chris Chibnall era any day. But this series did attempt to bring back the tone and feel of the David Tennant era, which I appreciate. And plus, they brought back the Christmas special at long freaking last. They changed it to a New Year's Day special with the Jodie Whittaker era, and that was a fine change having Doctor Who on New Year's Day, but we still missed it at Christmas. So the fact we have a festive story again is a jolly good fun. The Church of Ruby Road, I have to say, it's now one of my favourite Doctor Who Christmas specials. Period. It's while not quite a the masterpiece that was the Christmas Invasion. It's still a clear emotional centre with Ruby, being left at the church by her mother and then adopted by her adoptive mother in the flat, and the Doctor meets her and brings some thrills into her life and they get captured on board a ship of alien goblins with a goblin king that looks reminiscent of the Goblin King from The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey. Lol. Watching this on a Christmas Day 2023 was a real festive treat. I mean, sure, I do think the goblin aliens could have been more of a threat, but that's aside. This was a mostly solid way to kick off the Nucci Gatwa era. And then, oh boy, wish I could say the same about Space Babies, the pilot of Series 14. Space Babies sucks ass. It sucks Time Lord balls. It is unquestionably the worst Nucci Gatwa story and worst story of Series 14. What was Russell thinking? It's not entirely his fault, I guess. When money-grabbing Mickey was streaming Doctor Who on Disney Plus in some countries, he was like, "Oh, we gotta make a Doctor Who more a babyish suit to appeal to the younger viewers." Ha ha ha. So Disney had better not have interfered, but it sure looks like it. It's like the Doctor Who version of the Boss Baby. It's that dumb. It starts out promising with the Doctor and Ruby traveling back to the time of the dinosaurs and the concept of, if you stepped on a butterfly, could you change the future? But then once they get to the ship with the babies, boy, does it plummet downhill from there. Like the Doctor and Ruby playing parents to these babies. Like, adult viewers feel like they're the wrong target audience for this episode. And then the fact that there's a xenomorph ripoff alien made of snots, what a gross concept. But thankfully, the show did pick up again just a little with the Devil's Cause. Not a huge improvement over Space Babies, but still more watchable in comparison. And this story would be right up my sister's streamer with her love of music, but the Doctor and Ruby look dapper as hell as they dress to fit the time period this story takes place in. And the Doctor and Ruby in a historical story facing off against a musical demon. On paper, that could make for a classic Who historical story, but and visually and production design wise, that's where this story's strength lies. It's the writing department where this story leaves a lot to be desired. The musical demon comes off as more goofy than intimidating, and the pacing does sag. And as for Boom, this was the first real great story of Series 14 since the Christmas special, and written by Stephen Moffat, of all people. Yeah, say what you want about his era as a show writer, but he works better when he's writing standalone stories rather than being head writer. And this story is a terrific tension builder when the Doctor has stepped on this bomb, and if he lifts his foot off, it could be kaboom, the end of him and Ruby. and this girl who is searching for her father. So your teeth are shaking, and your head is in your hands for the most part. Like, oh, please, doctor, don't you take your foot off that bomb until this can be resolved. And the war zone setting is pretty gritty and dark, but there is a lack of a memorable antagonist, so I do think this story could have had that. Now on to series 14 finally truly finds its footing with 73 yards, the first masterpiece of this series. I get that not everybody cared for this story, but I will defend it because it's the first Doctor Light story of this series, and Ruby carries it, and she shows she can carry a story on her own without the Doctor. Seeing the Doctor disappear from her life and just see her world collapse as this woman who's constantly 73 yards away, it's a real emotional roller coaster of a story, and you just want poor Ruby to uh, 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 get her life back and just figure out what the heck is going on. And this is one of Millie Gibson's best performances, no question. And then on to another underrated gem in this series for me, Dot and Bubble. Yeah, another Doctor Light story. The Doctor and Millie are in it for like 5 to 10 minutes. They mostly appear on the screen in the main character's bubble, but they don't physically appear until the conclusion of this story. And I I applaud this story for doing that, for focusing on a brand new character who needs to find the Doctor and Ruby as, and she's not only the definition of gorgeous. I once thought she was played by Emily Burrington from Humans, who's one of my favorite British actresses. But she's she's living in a world that's sealed by a bubble. She lives her daily life with a virtual bubble around her, unaware of the slug aliens patrolling the city and closing in on her. It is so intriguing, just such an out there idea. You can't help but love it, and the ending was so poignant with the Doctor leaving the people who left the city to work things out on their own, because of course the Doctor doesn't always have all the answers and he can't always save everybody. And as for a Rogue, one of the fan favorite stories of this series, yeah, Rogue was so good, even with its flaws. I I do think that Ruby was a little uh, pushed to the side in this story, and we could have learned a bit more about where the owl alien, shape shifting aliens came from, but they were still a they were still menacing. It was good to go back to a darker tone after Space Babies, and the Doctor falling in love with a Rogue who was like a badass time agent was a was a moving love story, and there is nothing wrong with the Doctor having a gay romance. It's exactly the same as Dumbledore and Grindelwald in the Wizarding World, and how could you not love the glamour of this story and all the Bridgerton vibes? And here we are, folks, the season finale. The only two-parter in this series, The Legend of Ruby Sunday and Empire of Death. And I always say finales should always be two-parters because of how much story they need to tell and how much they need to raise the stakes. And this two-parter did just that. So not bad, Russell, not bad. This is my personal favourite story of Series 14, as it ties into the Church of Ruby Sunday where we finally find out who is Ruby's mother. And we see Kate and Eunice again, and the Doctor's greaser outfit, like the greasers in Greece, is bad ass and slick. though The Legend of Ruby Sunday is the weaker of the two parts, as it is mostly set up for part two, but it does the setup exceptionally well, particularly that cliffhanger with the reveal of the mighty and uh, terrifying Zootek. And yeah, I applaud Russell for resurrecting a classic Who villain from the Tom Baker era. And in Pyramids of Mars, his design was more mummy-like, whereas his new look in the new Who is a far more Egyptian dogger-like with glowing red eyes. So he's uh, he's even creepier here, and his voice will make your blood run cold. And when he reduces everybody, including Eunice and Kate, to dust, bringing his titular Empire of Death. You are uh, uh, overjoyed when the Doctor straps into the TARDIS and takes him through the time vortex to give him what for. You're like, Zootek made his bed, he can lie in it. And Nucci Gatwa even gets his best moment here when he just looks down at the Earth from the TARDIS and just screams in defeat. This was the first time we see Nucci's Doctor as a loss uh, for what to do, and the one story that tests him, and the revelation of Ruby's mother was ever so heartwarming. She finally got her real mum back as well as her adopted mum. So now her family has grown even more, and her decision to take a break from traveling with the Doctor in the TARDIS was a bold ending, and it makes sense because Ruby has lots of catching up to do with where her real mum has been all this time. And that final scene where this lady in a white coat is saying Ruby's story may have had a happy ending, but the Doctor's does not. Only makes me want to see what Russell T Davies has in store for the future of the show more. And who is that lady? And though it is a bummer we have no Dalek stories in Series 14. We've had such a long break from the Daleks at this point, so we haven't seen them since the Jodie regeneration story, Power of the Doctor. So when they come back, they better come back with a bang. So overall, a Series of 14 well, what it is the best series of Doctor Who we've gotten in the 2020s, and I'm sure this is just a mere warm-up series for what Russell has in store. I give Doctor Who Series 14 4 stars out of 5. Great show. So that was my thoughts on a Doctor Who Series 14, and yeah, it looks like they are going to return to the original formula, having a proper series in summertime, in the old days, which I'm happy about, and I would love Ruby to stay for longer, and I'd love her to return again, and but I would still be open to Nucci's Doctor having more companions. Just please bring the Daleks into the Nucci Gatwa era later on, Russell. Well, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. And what are your thoughts on Doctor Who Series 14? Do you think it's a return to form for the show? Please comment and let me know. Please like this video and subscribe. Please follow on Twitter and on Instagram. And I'll see you all next time. And remember, movies are us. Bye, guys.